All right, all you beautiful people out there in the Icy Fellowship, how is everyone doing today? I am your host, the Ice Dragon, Ray Ron. Today we are going to start off with another weekly podcast. I decided the MangaVerse should be a weekly podcast that I do on Mondays at this particular time zone, and we'll just see where it goes. So today we're going to be talking about the Chainsaw Man Volume 1. Now, I've got a lot to talk about when it comes to this particular manga because I found something interesting that we will go into a little bit later when it comes to this volume. So I've got all my notes. We'll go ahead and get into the Chainsaw Man Volume 1. I do have the link in StreamYard if you wish to join me in talking about this particular Volume 1. First thing though, I'm gonna give my quick notes over it, and then I'll keep you guys in the basement until I'm ready for the open general discussion on Chainsaw Man Volume 1. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start to talk about this. Let me go ahead and do a quick screen share here. And stupid me, I decided to remove it. All right, let's add to stream. There we go. I can do this. Okay, so we got Chainsaw Man Volume 1. So you guys know the drill. We'll go ahead and dive right into this. We will be talking about spoilers for Volume 1. So if you guys don't want to get spoiled, feel free to watch this video at a later time. So with that, this is Chainsaw Man Volume 1. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back here and see what we got. Okay, so our description here. Gentie's a poor young man who'll do anything for money, even hunting down the devils with his pet devil dog, Pochietta. He's a simple man with simple dreams, drowning under a mountain of debt. But his sad life gets turned upside down when he betrays by someone he trusts. Now, with the power of the devil inside him, Gentie's become a whole new man, the Chainsaw Man. So, with that, we've got made by Viz Media, Shonen Jump, rated older teen, an MSRP of $9.99, which I think is what I paid for this particular manga. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, we'll take a look at our chapters here. So we've got the dog and chainsaw, the place where Pochietta is, arrival in Tokyo, power, a way to touch some boobs, which is crazy. Yeah, service and Meow's whereabouts. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Again, spoilers. So if you don't want to get spoiled, feel free to watch this a little bit later. So with that, we go into Genji is our main protagonist here, and we find him in kind of a dystopian type of world. It feels like a little bit of Fallout in a little bit of way, and so we're basically thrust upon him that he is technically a devil hunter. He's working from trying to remember exactly what he's working with. The Yukazu boys is what he's working with, kind of like this gang that deals with dealing with demons and killing them. And so we find ourselves that Denji and his father, I doesn't say exactly what happened, but the father died, and so he owed a lot of debt to the Yukaza boys, and so he's trying to repay that. And the way he's repaying that is that he's got this little demon pet um, called Pochietta, and I'll see if I can find a picture. Oh, matter of fact, we get a picture of the demon pet right here. So it's basically a dog with a chainsaw coming out of his head. Oh, it's quite original. It's funny. And so these two are our main. Oh, come on. You can do it, camera. There we go. So these are our two protagonists. And so they do what they can to try to earn a living. And so as we go through here, it is discovered that the Yukaju boys and the main kind of boss of this particular organization, they are actually working for the demons. And so eventually they corner our main protagonist here, and it looks like they have successfully killed Denji and Pochieta. However, because of their strong bonds and their friendship towards each other, Pochieta essentially fuses with Denji, essentially saving his life. And we have this again, kind of very similar, and we'll talk about this to a different manga where we've had this psychic character fuse with a human to essentially save said human and then gain the abilities from this particular demon. So, with that, our main Denchi character basically transforms into the Chainsaw Man as we see here. So, kind of a evolution type of way between creature and man. So with that, he is able to chainsaw his way through these demon swarms and was able to take revenge on the Ikazu boys. And so we continue on to follow our journey with Denji. And so these special agents come around and essentially pick him up, realizing that he is not the typical demon or human demon type of person. And so we are introduced to this other main agent. Her name is Makima, and basically, um, it's a stereotypical. Denji kind of has the flirtatious on for Makima, and then quickly, as we go through the story, realize that Makima and the agency is basically using him for his unique abilities. This Chainsaw Man type of ability. But with that, he is then assigned to our next main character, agent. Demon Hunters is what they call them. And then we meet Akira. I can't even pronounce it. Akihaya. Akihaya. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering these names. I am not great when it comes to the pronunciation of Japanese names. But anyways, we are introduced to another agent from the Demon Hunters, and essentially they are making this special squad from the Demon Hunters. And so they properly introduce themselves with fighting and the testosterone of strong men trying to compete. And it's kind of funny that Denshi here essentially um, kicks our other guy in the balls to assert his dominance. It's hilarious. It's a great exchange between characters, and it made me smile. But anyways, um, they go on and they go out to a particular case where there's this man who is basically possessed by a demon, and they basically had no choice. It kind of reminded me of, what was it? Firestorm, Fire Squad. I can't remember the exact name of the manga top of my head, but essentially when a demon takes over, they are basically possessed and you have to kill them outright. So they go through a couple cases, they deal with the demons, and then they move on. And so after that, our main protagonist, Denji, then gets teamed up with another kind of fused demon human type of person, and her name is Power. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But anyways, we get introduced to Power, and she's basically a demon. And her ability is, the best way I can describe it is crazy agility. I think the author had something for Harley Quinn because the way Power kind of portrays her stats a little bit is very Harley Quinn type of personality. Doesn't care, goes into a situation rushing, and here's some of the illustrations that kind of portrays that. She has a giant big hammer to deal with the demons, and very reckless, very careless, and that's the best way I can describe her character traits. Very chaotic, and so as a result, our main like special agent Makima kind of tells Denshi that you need to control Power. She's very chaotic, big reliability, and so yeah, he gets talking to essentially. And Denji's like, how in the world am I gonna deal with this person? But that gets answered in the next chapter. So come to find out, Power is working with a big demon. Let's see if I can find a illustration. So one thing I love about this book is that it is very well detailed when it comes to the panels. The characters are unique, they are defined, and it's just great drawing overall. And so we've got this bat demon that our Power here essentially teams up with and portrays Denji. But then as we go through the story, come to find out that the Bat Demon then portrays Power because Power had grown up with this cat. And come to find out, in order to keep Power under control, the Bat Demon eats that cat. And then she is just horrified, realizing that, yeah, I made a very, very terrible mistake. And so the cat gets eaten, and then Power's basically in shock. And then she gets eaten by the Bat Demon. And so Denji goes into a complete rage because, quite funny, one of Denji's like dreams is to touch boobs. I shit you not. So with Powers, like, I want my boobs back, which is fucking hilarious. It definitely caught me off guard when that dialogue was presented. It's like, what in the world is going on here? But anyways, Denji then transforms into our wonderful Chainsaw Man here. And then at the last panel, it is a duel between this Bat Demon and Denji. Yeah, I tell you what, this was crazy. And so that's where volume 1 ends. So that is kind of where we're at when it comes to Chainsaw Man. I like this story, but here's the thing. You cannot talk about Chainsaw Man and not talk about this other manga, Black Torch. So as I was reading, so kind of the order that I had here, I'm trying to remember which one I read first. I think okay, so I read Chainsaw Man first, and then I read Black Torch. And when I was reading Chainsaw Man, it's like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. And the way it is, the plot of both of these mangas are exactly the same. So I had to go back and realize, okay, is this the same author? Because the way these two stories and their tropes are exactly the same. I thought it was the same author, but come to find out, they're definitely not. Tatsuku Furimoto and Tayoshi um, Takakai. But anyways, and to my understanding, Black Torch came out first. I want to take a look at the copyright date here. Let's see. So Black Torch was in 2016 was the copyright date, and Chainsaw Man, I think this was in the front. Okay, Chainsaw Man was 2018. So this Black Torch came out 2 years before Chainsaw Man. And what's interesting is that I'm assuming this is a coincidence or maybe not, but Chainsaw Man basically copies the storyline of Black Torch almost one to one. You basically have a creature entity that comes out from a different dimension. Both of these kind of follow that. You've got a creature that partners up with a human. So we see that in Chainsaw Man with Denshi, and then we see it in here with our cat that fuses with our human dude. And it's ridiculous. It felt like I was reading the same thing twice. It was that dead on. And it's like both of them have their secret agents that came out and take over or try not necessarily capture, but put into custody both of the main characters. We have the same special agent who is female. Again, maybe coincidence, but very, very close. Really crazy. And then by the end of it, you have this secret agency that's answering to a higher organization. And what's even more crazy is that in Black Torch, it's basically these 5 floating heads, is the best way I can describe it. In Chainsaw Man, it's 5 people on a council. So it is crazy how similar plot lines these two volume ones are. Now, it may diverge as we read on through the volumes, but it is crazy to think that right after I read Black Torch, going to Chainsaw Man, it's like I've seen this before. So yeah, I don't know the exact copy, but you'll be surprised just how close these two are. Very, very crazy. But nevertheless, I do enjoy both stories. They have their own unique twists, even though it is the same exact plot line for both of them. They're different enough to still enjoy the two characters. And what's interesting about Chainsaw Man is that when I was just going through the news via Google, I was actually able to find an article about these two particular mangas. And I thought I was going crazy with these two particular mangas. Like, man, these two just sound so close. And then I found this article. So let me go ahead and show you guys that article real quick, which I found pretty interesting. See if I can get here. Okay, so I ran into this article, which kind of proved that I wasn't going crazy. So this is from Screen Rant, and it was published about a week ago, actually. So relatively recent article. Chainsaw Man didn't just copy another manga; it improved it. So again, there'll be a little bit of spoilers, and it'll be spoilers a little bit for me, just because I haven't read any more of the volumes besides Volume 1 on both of these. But it kind of solidifies my point of just how close these two mangas are. Chainsaw Man has risen substantially in popularity recently, which is why we're covering it, because a lot of people recommended reading Chainsaw Man. However, its premise shares more than a few similarities to an earlier manga. All right, so the author of Chainsaw Man might easily be one of the most unique manga in recent history, but the story of how Denji became the series' Eponus Devil and later joined the public safety Devil Hunters actually occurred a few years earlier in Black Torch, originally from Jump Square. The Chainsaw Man, an orphan boy named Denji, is killed when trying to repay his late father's debts. But his cute little devil friend named Poicha, again, I know I'm butchering his name, I apologize. The actual Chainsaw Man becomes the deceased human's heart, bringing him back to life and allowing him to unlock what's now an iconic transformation, which again, we can see that in the front cover here of Volume 1. As a powerful devil, Denji soon attracts the attention of Makima, a high-ranking official in the government-sanctioned public safety Devil Hunters, who recruits him in her experimental unit of misfits known as Division 4. Now, what's interesting is that, Division 4 doesn't sound like a great title to put on top of a manga. What's interesting about Black Torch, again, spoiler alert for Black Torch, and if you haven't seen my review, I have done a review of Black Torch Volume 1, is that the secret experimental unit in Black Torch is called Black Torch. That's where the name of the manga series comes from. Black Torch Jiro Asuma unfortunately meets the same fate as Denji when he foolishly attempts to fight a powerful Mononoke despite being a human. Luckily for him, he had just befriended another Mononoke that he resuscitated, a powerful black cat named Ragu. In return for saving him, Ragu fuses with Jiro, resurrecting him and bestowing incredible powers. Now, one thing I do like about Black Torch that Chainsaw Man I don't like too much is that Ragu is actually still alive, whereas our little friend in Chainsaw Man is not. To at least the Volume 1's perspective. A particular branch. Let's see. Okay. Like the Devil's Hunters from Chainsaw Man, a particular branch of the government known as the Bureau of Espionage takes notice of Jiro and brings him in for testing. Eventually, Chief Shiba convinces his bosses, a group of floating masks, to form a special unit, so they leverage Jiro's amazing Mononoke powers to hunt for the Mononoke. And again, they've got a perfect illustration here of just how scary the similarities are. You got the Denji here fusing with our little friend here. And then same over here, the cat is fusing with our human friend here. Similarities are just crazy. Without taking into consideration ridiculousness that later transpires in Chainsaw Man, both of these series' opening chapters seem or share similarities, but mangaka Fujimoto's masterpiece vastly improves them. For example, Black Toy Special Unit isn't actually the special, as they aren't any other Mono Oak's Power members. There's a character who hates Jiro for not being wholly human, but Chainsaw Man also features a dynamic with Division 4 member Aki Hawaki, and then adds the blood fiend power to the mix, as a devil that later assumes control of human corpse. Power brings a host of terrible for Denji and his friends that Black Torch could never cover. So again, this is something that we'll probably discover as we go on through the volumes here. I haven't gotten that far to really see more differences, but we'll get there. And as we continue, I'm really interested in actually pursuing both of these manga volumes. I'm actually close to owning all the Chainsaw Man volumes. I think I just need 6 and 7, but Black Torch, I still need to invest the rest of them. But I do want to kind of, in future streams of the MangaVerse, I kind of want to compare and contrast both of these series, considering how close they were in volume 1, see how far they go apart after that. So that's something I think I'll do moving on. So we will go from there. Chainsaw Man also circumvented an annoying tangent in Black Torch by expediting Denji's acceptance into Division 4. Jiro wasn't originally treated as a member of the Bureau of Espionage, limiting his involvement at first, which is true. Their involvement was super quick in Chainsaw Man into the agency versus Black Torch. It took a while for the main character to kind of prove himself that he's not crazy and that he can actually be a valuable asset. Although only for a short while, the story stalled as a result. Meanwhile, Denji immediately becomes a devil hunter, dealing with the series' bloodiest battle by chapter 14, which again, we'll eventually get there. Ironically, Black Torch squandered an opportunity that Chainsaw Man ignored completely rather than trying to improve it. Jiro was almost killed by his grandfather, who was attempting to murder-suicide upon learning that his grandson became a Mono Oak. And again, that happens in volume 1 of Black Torch, that as soon as the grandfather found out that he was infused with this Mono Oak, the grandfather basically tries to take him out, which I don't think is something I really captured in my video. It's one of the details that I left out, but now it's relevant. This was Rip with potential awesomeness, but the grandfather eventually accepts Gyro within the span of the chapter, eliminating a conflict that originally existed. Meanwhile, Denji never had to contend with such a dynamic since he's an orphan because his father passed away. Avoiding this plotline just helped Chainsaw Man get to the meat of the story, even though Manika Fujimoto could have improved this dynamic. I don't necessarily agree with this statement because it differentiates from one another. And again, Black Torch was a little bit more character building. I will agree with the main character. However, because that's in there, that's what makes it unique over Chainsaw Man. Conversely, the only downside in Chainsaw Man is that Genji and Pochita doesn't really interact during Denji's possession, unlike Jiro and Ragu. Yep, and that's one of the things I just mentioned is that one of the biggest differences between the two mangas is that our main little character demon actually survives in Black Torch versus Chainsaw Man. So again, very similar, but then the way they the execution of each manga is different, which makes them unique still. Conversely, the only downside in Chainsaw Man, yeah, we already talked about that. But the author later proves this is to be intentional, and the end result is massive. Although both series began almost exactly the same, Chainsaw Man not only retells Black Torch's opening characters or chapters in a more captivating way, but quickly leaves the latter in the dust in the following installments. We will see about that. So again, that's the author of this article's opinion. We will see how it goes. So I do agree on the differences, but again, I don't like this article saying that Chainsaw Man got right to the point. Sometimes getting right to the point misses those character developments and details to really get yourself into the shoes of the character. And that's definitely a big difference I noticed with Chainsaw Man versus Black Torch, as we've already looked at. So yeah, definitely interesting that I found this article yesterday. It's like, yes, I am not going crazy, and another article to kind of pinpoint for this. So yeah, definitely was excited when I saw that. So very, very cool. All right, so I'm gonna go back to, oh, that's pretty cool. Little Inception. But yeah, so dealing with Chainsaw Man, I had to put in Black Torch considering that they were very similar in story, and hopefully again they continue to diverge. And again, there are some differences when it comes to these particular manga. And originally, I wasn't planning on getting Black Torch. I found it completely by accident. I know I grabbed Chainsaw Man first, and then saw on Amazon that there was this Black Torch with the fusion of a demon. It's like, oh, let me grab that. And then eventually read Black Torch first, and then read Chainsaw Man for this episode of the MangaVerse. So yeah, I figured you can't talk one without the other. And I think in my Black Torch video, I mentioned that Chainsaw Man was very similar in style as well. So yeah, so that is pretty much all I got for this particular MangaVerse. I don't see anyone in the basement, in the icy basement. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up for this episode. Again, this will be a weekly podcast that I do on this channel at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next week, we're just going to do a general chit chat of any manga. We'll see if you guys are interested in talking about a particular manga that I should look into. And I'll probably talk about what got me into manga and then just go from there. So with it, guys, thank you so much for listening. For those who are here lurking and those viewers in the future. But with the guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. And at the last minute there, we got Avery. Wing hugs. All the wing hugs. All the wing hugs. But with the guys, I'll see you next week. Or actually, shout out, I will be on my Endless Collectibles channel on Wednesday with the Gigi Crochet. And then the Icy Layer State of Ice for January, which I'm excited for. And then I'll be back on Monday with the MangaVerse. So with it, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Wednesday.